Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Lorecast. It's me, Nick from the Nick Show, and I'm joined today by Benny and Andy as usual. And today I also have Noah back. He's been out for a couple episodes. So
Howdy.
Yep,
say hi,
pretty
boys.
much.
Today we are talking about something different other than a comic or a movie or a show. We're doing a web series. Web series on YouTube called Local 58. So, what did you boys think about it? We all watched it. I've watched it like 4 times. It's a good little mini series, web series. So what did you boys think? Maybe we'll go one at a time and tell us what you think it all means, and then like
All right.
what you what you
You
thought
think it
about
is?
it. Yeah,
What's going on?
yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead, Andy.
So, if you don't know what Local 58 is, it's not long at all. So it's to watch, but it's a bunch of little clips, all coming from this TV station, seemingly like a local small town TV station called Local 58. But instead of it being like, oh man, it's just normal weather reports, whatever. It's all crazy, strange weather warnings and uh, just bizarre footage and all hinting at something larger and more sinister in place. Um, and what I thought of it, I don't know. It was definitely the kind of series and kind of thing that's like intended to be as vague as possible to ask, so that you have to ask all the questions about it, and in that way that makes it a really intriguing um study and intriguing mystery as to what exactly is going on here, because we have things that hint at maybe possibly alien attacks, or the United States has been taken by some sort of force.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely don't want us to they're definitely trying to control us through these sort of airwave type things. There's stuff that happens during the videos that indicates that people are fighting for control over the airwaves. And it was really, it was pretty chilling.
Mm.
Um, I wouldn't say, I would go far. It's not scary. It's not like, oh man, jump scares and crazy monsters and But it's the
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
creepy, it's unsettling, and it's exactly the kind of subtle psychological horror that's like really really good.
Mm.
Probably the best
Mm-hmm.
kind.
Yeah. So
Anyone else wanna?
so
You want me to? You want me to talk about what I like think my predictions of, or the theory is, or
Maybe we
Um,
should like
well,
just get our initial reactions
yeah,
and then go
we'll get
Yeah.
everyone's
like,
initial
Yeah.
reaction, and then
start
we'll
conversing.
talk about it differently. I'll probably go last because I know I've seen a lot
I
of
know,
the
I know,
theories videos.
I know
and all that.
you paid a lot of attention to this, so
Yeah, I
you probably know a lot
Yeah.
more than
I did
You
my
went deep.
research. I did. I'm so good.
Also go next.
Okay, it's either you or you or Noah.
Oh, you want to go
Uh,
next?
Yeah, I'll go.
Mm.
All right.
So I wasn't expecting it to be like what it was. I was kind of expecting it to be sort of like the first video, the you were on the fastest available route or what I don't know if that's what
Yeah.
it's called,
Yeah, that's the one.
but that one I thought the whole thing was gonna be like that. I thought it was all gonna be like first person, like in the woods, kind of
Yeah.
little spooky
Mhm,
environment,
mhm.
but it wasn't. And that was honestly it was really interesting. It's like it's I appreciated how it had like these vignettes of different things and they all
Mhm.
seemed kind of connected, but you couldn't quite tell if they were connected.
Mm-hmm.
They were all separate from each other and they didn't necessarily connect in any sort of way, but you could tell that like the ambience and the feel, you could tell that something more sinister was going on. And in that way it was connected. I thought they really nailed the feel of it,
Mhm.
especially with that the video of the United States one where they
Oh
were all
yeah.
like where it's like step one, put the gun in your mouth, and like step two, shoot. Like that was
Yeah.
it was
Mhm.
very unsettling, and
Mhm.
I really appreciated how they just really got that ambience and that creepy kind of unsettling vibe across because
Yeah.
not every internet video can do that.
Oh,
And
we tried.
yeah, trust me, I've tried. It
Oh, I
doesn't
remember that.
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
work out like you think it does. Um, but I'm definitely excited to see where it goes because it's not done yet.
Yeah, it's still ongoing.
Right. And I like what they're going for. I was definitely expecting more of like a first person thing, but I really appreciated how it was like
Yeah.
all told through the television. I thought that was really unique.
Yeah.
So I 2 big thumbs up. I liked it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, first of all, this is Benny from the original Benny Show. I just
Dumb.
I just got back from the Area 51 raid. So no,
So you know how this ends.
yeah, pretty much. I time traveled and I high fived myself over the past weekend.
Oh, sick.
No, so the first video I watched was the weather forecast, and I watched it in my car because I was waiting for somebody, or I can't remember what. But I was like, it's only 2 minutes. I should watch it. It was broad daylight, so I was like, okay, cool, I guess. So then I got home, and Andy and I watched the rest of it together. Plot twist: Andy and I are roommates. Um,
Wow,
and
that's the lore.
and I know the lore of Benny and Andy.
lore of
Trust me,
Lorecast.
it goes deep. Yeah, for real. So, it was like night. It was a little bit. It was around this time actually, and then I think the first one we watched was
We
the
watched them in order.
PSA
So
one.
no, the first one was the meteor one.
The meteor
That was
one.
because we watched them in the order that they were released. I think.
Oh,
So we had
yeah,
the
yeah,
playlist.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
if
the
you go
first
in
one
order.
was the
Yeah, so we watched it, and I was telling Andy, I was for the first time in like a million years, for the first time in forever, to quote Frozen, I was legitimately creeped out and actually kind of scared. Like I've seen horror movies.
Yeah.
Like I've seen horror movies, and like Alien is one of the best horror movies ever, and I've seen stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's psychologically terrifying, like Alien is. But for some reason, this was just. I mean, I knew
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna die. Like I knew. I think what scared me the most was the creepy aspect of it.
Yeah.
But also, I was expecting a jump scare that never happened,
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
yeah.
and
Yeah.
that and
That
Andy.
tension.
Yeah, and I don't know if Andy could
Yeah,
tell.
you were tense, like because
Dude.
I remember because when we watch stuff together, we're always like talking and joking and
Yeah.
reacting the whole time, and I was doing that. I was like, "Whoa, that's crazy! Whoa, what's going on?" And then I looked over and he was just staring straight at the screen. He wasn't looking at me. He was just like sitting there completely silent.
Dude, I was terrified.
And I was like, "Dude, something's going on with him, man. Maybe the
I got
programming
possessed in
got
like
to
5
him."
seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that got me the most was the dream one, dude. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
jeez.
That one is.
was
I would say that one's the second most unsettling one.
Mm.
Yeah. All right, Noah.
Noah.
Excuse me.
No, I already went.
No, already went.
Excuse me.
It's me, boys.
Noah.
So,
Okay.
I have done my vast research on this channel.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I'm sure.
it is.
Yeah, sure.
It was started by a guy who's actually sort of well known. Something called Chainsaw Suit. I don't know what that is, but it's a web comic. So this guy is getting into video, and he started this Local 58. The thing that you really need to notice is I had the videos playing while you guys were talking, but they happen in a certain order, and you can tell by the way the Local 58 logo looks. So the first one in the timeline, according to most theories, is Contingency. That's the one where it says America has been taken by her enemies. Assume the freedom position, front lawn, face up, feet towards the sky. So,
Yeah.
and that one, it's a contingency plan for every American citizen to kill their children and then kill themselves before their enemies get to them. So, and it's like the police have been ordered to enforce this law. That takes place in the 60s, but as a lot of people have noticed, the signature at the end is the President of the United States, and that's Lyndon B. Johnson, whose term ended in 1969? And this says, or 68, so it was really close. And it says not to be used after 1970. So this is either an alternate reality where it is Lyndon B. Johnson ran for another term, or he's still, or they pre-recorded it under the authority of Local 58. Or under President Johnson.
Lyndon B. Johnson. Yeah.
The next one in the timeline is Show for Children. That's that cartoon where it's a
Oh,
little skeleton boy, and
weird.
he's
Yeah.
walking, and he sees his dead friends as they once were. Now that one takes place probably like. Also, the Contingency is the only one with film grain, so everything after that has been on tape or it's been on tape. So the next one is like
Yeah.
in the 80s, Show for Children. And the interesting thing about that one is it takes place at 4:00 in the morning. Ain't no kid gonna be up at 4:00 in the morning, but it sets up.
Nowadays they play Fortnite till
Oh
5.
my
so, you know.
gosh! And then they get up for school at 6. Ridiculous kids. But it's a warning against looking up at the moon in this world.
Yeah.
And the moon is what killed all of his friends. So apparently, the big theory around this is that extraterrestrials have taken over the country, and they are messing with broadcasts that have been showing up on this Local 58, and they keep fighting back and forth for control over the airways, and we don't know if it's specifically the moon or it's talking about the lights from lights at night, with the biggest light at the night is the moon. So it's like, is that what's killing? It's either the moon or like a gigantic spaceship that's killing everyone. So that's what it's really going down to.
Okay. So the next one after the cartoon one, what's the next one after that?
The next one
As far
after that,
as far as the timeline goes, yeah.
let me see. I haven't. It's been a minute since I've like looked at the timeline.
Because it's funny how you're talking about like the moon does seem to be a central theme and
yeah.
Yeah.
pretty much all of the videos, because in the weather forecast one at first it says don't look at the moon, don't
Yeah,
look at it.
and then it's like,
but-
do look at it. Do
yeah, then
look
it's like,
up.
look at it, you
And you're like,
freaking nerd.
Nerd. Let me see if I can find the timeline real quick, and then I'll pull it up on screen.
It seems that I guess with the
It's I think it's definitely though the one driving is the most recent.
The most
That was-
recent,
that was,
for sure.
That was the time cap at the
It's
top was
2014. Yeah.
that programming for children was the most recent one.
No, because the You Are on the Fastest Route has a timestamp for 2014, and Show for Children happened around the 80s because it has a different.
Oh,
it's got a-
you're
yeah,
talking
based
about
on the-
yeah.
in the
And
canon,
You can
quote
tell,
unquote.
you
Yeah,
can tell,
in the
you can,
canon.
yeah, you,
oh,
the first
can
video
tell
to
a
come
lot.
out was obviously that.
you can tell a lot about the films based on or where they're
Yeah,
from
based on the
the
graphics.
quality of the film
Yeah.
and the type of the programming and stuff. Like all the text in the later ones is like kind of that blocky text that you get on VHSs from the 80s and 90s.
Mm.
So that's definitely was recorded after the
Okay. I've got.
contingency.
All right. I've got up a sort of timeline here. Okay.
Uh-huh.
It's on the wiki, so you guys can't use the wiki. Only we can. All right, pulling up on screen. So it says during the 1960s, under Lyndon Johnson administration, a nationwide government issued message was made in case of United States surrender to an enemy force. Somewhere during that time period, Local 58 was hijacked at the end of its broadcast by an unknown intruder who aired that message in the middle of the night. Sometime later, presumably decades later, in the 1980s, the station aired Show for Children slot, which featured the Thimble Pictures cartoon character Cadaver attempting to find his spouse in an animated adventure. On November 21st, 2014, which is the dashcam footage, the station was hijacked and played a dashcam footage of a vehicle driving at night that followed increasingly erratic instructions from the satellite navigational system. At an unknown time period, possibly November 1st, 2017, the station aired emergency alert system message, where the county instructed viewers to avoid looking at a meteorological event. The broadcast would subsequently be hijacked to encourage the opposite. Local 58 also broadcast a VHS recording belonging to a Philip Gerard, intended to be used as a sleeping aid and through the induction of dreamless state of sleep. That one freaked me out.
One got
Yeah.
me, man. Those faces.
That's the one that gives me the most questions.
Yeah,
because
because I went
Yeah,
frame by
that's
frame
true.
and looked at each one. That's the newest one that
Yeah.
came out, was the real sleep. So it's like
Yeah.
the government issued these sleep aids at some point.
Yeah.
So I think
So
it looks
the
like-
idea is
yeah,
that
go
that the government issued that sleep aid?
Or
is that
or
is
under
that was
under the
something that
control of these extraterrestrial beings that seem to have taken over.
right?
I thought it was like an independent company, but I don't remember seeing any government like imaging. But if it
It
did,
might
I
be
might be
just a
wrong.
local thing. So maybe, I think these things were issued by the president and maybe by a hospital or government or something, but then they keep getting centralized in one area. This local 58.
Right.
Well,
Yeah, it seemed to be a corrupt version of like one of those like instructional VHSs that were so popular in the 80s and
Yeah.
90s
Oh
of like
gosh.
this is how, you know,
We need
well,
another.
and
something
it was just
I know.
it was
But
just a
at,
twisted version of
yeah,
that.
like info
at the
channel.
end
That's
of
another one right there,
at,
boys.
at the end of the meteorological one, like the last shot, you see the moon, and in the background, you can actually
Yeah,
hear
you
people
can hear like
screaming and crap.
screams. That's
Wait, what?
yeah. If you listen
Ah,
real
Yeah.
I didn't
closely,
catch this.
Get woke, bro.
yeah. If you
Which
listen real
which
closely,
which
they
one is
scream.
this?
It's the
The- the weather
moon.
service
Don't
one.
look at the moon. The one that's like don't look at the moon. Weather
Yeah,
service.
it's weather service.
Weather service.
I'll play it in the
Okay.
background just to.
Please don't.
No, I don't have the sound going on. I only show. I've been
Oh.
showing like a couple tiny snippets of like the thing to get people
Oh.
interested. So
Okay.
sound's not on. Oops. Now
Okay,
everyone.
so
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I hear it now.
You hear
That's very
it? Oh,
unsettling.
okay,
So-
okay. I was like, did I
so
play
the-
the thing?
No, I
the
was looking
leading
at it.
the leading theory, as far as I've been able to gather, because after we watched that, we watched Matt Pat's theory on it.
Yeah, I
to
skipped
what it
that one.
is.
I don't.
It wasn't
I know
too
there's-
bad.
The problem with
Like, the
MatPat
thing-
is I don't think MatPat would do it right. I follow like not creepypasta channels, but I look at ARG channels, which are alternate reality game channels, and this is definitely an ARG. So
Well, the thing is, yeah, you know, Matt Pat doesn't have the best reputation as far as this kind of stuff goes.
Yeah.
But
a
the one thing, the one thing that I will say about it is he does bring up some good points, and he does bring up at least some evidence for it. And I don't completely agree with what he says goes on here, but his like the leading theory as far as like he says is that it's extraterrestrials
Yes.
that come to Earth to invade Earth, and his theory is has to do something with that they were upset that we landed on the moon, and so they
they're fighting
hijacked
back with
our
them?
frequencies, and he uses the biggest piece that's interesting about that, and this could go many ways, is one of the videos, I think it's the sleep video, says, I can't remember which one, has the message that says, we sent messages through their or signals through their domain, why did we think that they couldn't send them back, or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah, that's in the sleep video. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
sleep video, yeah. And
okay.
that kind of tells me, like, and he uses that to say, like, yeah, people, and he uses the real world evidence of, like, radio signals coming from outer space to say that that aliens were upset at us for landing on the moon for some reason, and so they it's like the astronauts found something they weren't supposed to on the moon, and so the aliens sent those messages to brainwash us and basically
Maybe.
conquer the planet.
When did you
I
say
don't
the first?
nec-
When did you say the
I'm
first?
I'm not sold on that.
When did you say the first timeline-wise video? Like the?
1960s.
Did you say it was 1969?
It's the 60s, late
Huh.
60s.
Yeah, it's an
'Cause if it's-
undisclosed year.
If
But-
it's 69, then it would have been the year the moon landing.
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
is
that's-
curious.
And then Lyndon B. Johnson's his term ended in 1960, late 60s. I forget. I'll look it up real quick. I gotta pull it up.
Oh.
I don't want to give misinformation.
No, I understand.
69.
Okay, so it ended in
His term
69,
ended in-
It ended in January 20th, 1969.
and this
Oh.
was issued in 1970. This the thing.
Yeah.
Then why would it have been? Because it was Reagan after that, right?
Yeah. So this is either
Why wouldn't it
in-
have been Reagan's
this is
signature?
either like something that we knew about, and like Lyndon B. Johnson had to sign off on it before he left term, and they dated it the 70s. So like, don't air this after 1970, whatever. Sign
Yeah.
Lyndon B. Johnson.
It wasn't Reagan. It was Carter. That's
Carter.
Oh,
Okay.
Carter.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was Reagan.
President
My bad.
Carter.
No, he was later.
President Carter.
Yeah, that was the 80s, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Reagan was the 80s. You know,
Yeah.
no
My
smoking
bad.
weed, boys. No
Dynamics.
smoking weed. Not on my channel.
But to your
Foreign
question,
drugs?
why wasn't it Carter's signature?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because the timestamp says expiry date, right?
Yes,
Like
it
it's like
expires
really?
in 1975
Yeah.
or whatever it was.
So it's something that was I feel like it's a kind of a spoof on the whole Cold War paranoia. The
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
concept of the video, because it's like one of those I don't know if these are actually real. I want to actually kind of look into this now. If these kind of things were real, like, oh man, if the Russians actually do destroy the country or something like that, we have these set up to go ahead
These
and broadcast.
contingency plans.
Yeah, I feel like, and it was one of those that was made by him, like it was signed off
Yeah.
by him, and then it was captured and corrupted and modified by the invaders.
Yeah.
So I got a question.
Go ahead.
So why? But yes, the point of a contingency plan is, hopefully we won't need it, but just in case.
Yeah.
But why would a contingency plan need an expiration date?
Because
That's
if
a good
new
point.
tactics come out, maybe, or if there's
Maybe
like
it's like
or maybe since it was the time of the Cold War, this is when this takes place, the time of the Cold War. Maybe they just didn't know, and they were like, "Well, if it ends, then it ends. Just don't use it after then." Because, or maybe somehow they knew that the Cold War was going to end, and they said, "All right, just don't do it after this date, because then it's gonna be a big old problem."
Well, also what I think is interesting is kind of what Andy said. Like, what if, because it would appear that this contingency plan was already pre-recorded, so to speak.
Yes.
So maybe,
Mm-hmm.
so in the real world, let's say that the government actually did have pre-recorded contingency plans, and then
Yeah.
when the aliens or whatever the things that are hacking our waves, what if they repurpose that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
hmm,
What if they
That's
repurpose those contingency plans to spread panic?
For sure.
yeah.
That was okay. So I watched a channel called Nexpo, which is Nightmare Expo, but it just go by Nexpo, and that was the theory he was talking about. This came out way before Matt Pat's video, just to say, and it's a lot longer and has a lot more content. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. But so he has an ARG channel, so he dedicates solely to ARGs and creepy videos on YouTube. So he obviously cares a lot about it, and he was talking about how maybe these extraterrestrials found this and played it at a very specific time. Was it comes up at what, like 12 o'clock in the morning or whenever it
Yeah.
starts playing? And he was like, if you saw this in the real world, and especially at the time, which was the Cold War, you don't know if war was going to break out in 5 seconds or not. So if you saw that playing on the air, like, how many would actually do that because nowadays we can go, let me just pop on Twitter real quick. Is that real? Are we really getting invaded? But
Yeah.
back in the 70s and 60s, you couldn't.
TV was your source.
TV was your
Yeah.
source. And if you saw that playing, and then like they're like, oh, sorry, this was just a test. It was a hoax. My bad. So that's
Well,
that was them
yeah.
regaining control over whatever that was. So it's like, how many people do you actually think committed suicide that night? And they didn't have
Yeah,
a
that-
chance to like check
That's-
up
that's
and
what I'm-
fact check on it. So like,
Yeah, that's
that was like the first instance of this hostile invasion going on. But
because in that case,
I do like the Matt Pat thing of like, we landed on the moon in 69, right? Or
Yeah.
60.
yeah,
So then then they found something that they're not supposed to. So then they're like, okay, well, we're going to attack you with your own resources, your arrogance. So I like that theory. It's an amalgamation of both theories, I would say. I like it a lot.
So what's the other theory? The one that you were talking.
What theory? My theory about the
No, what? Because you said his was a little bit different.
I need to look that one up
filter.
again. I watched it, but I like fell asleep, honestly. I was watching it.
Okay, so Matt Pat talks about and also one of the things that he uses the sleep video is trying to I guess brainwash us into losing recognition of faces
Okay, that is the problem
as
with.
a way
Go ahead.
as a way and the way he uses it is it's a way of the aliens to because apparently
Oops.
their suicide plan or contingency didn't have the same results they were looking for.
Yeah.
Like the widespread suicide type situation. So this is a way to get people to turn against each other
Yeah,
by preventing them
that's
from
the thing.
sleeping, by preventing them from recognizing faces. And it's true, and he does bring up a psychological fact, that lack of sleep does tend to lead towards lack of sympathy
Yeah.
towards others, lack of more aggression, that sort of thing. That's true. But
Yeah.
this is one thing that he talks, like he mentions that there's a message in there that says something like, we sent messages through their domain, why did we think they couldn't send it back, something like that. Let's see, I'm trying to find the actual message, because I had it
Yeah.
something that I kind of disagree with, is that maybe I don't know how much this is, but my first theory after watching all of them was, oh yeah, it's aliens, but I feel like it's
Yeah.
too easy to come to the conclusion that
Mm-hmm.
it's space aliens. That's
I
the
completely
that's the
agree.
Here's the thing.
easiest
yeah.
conclusion.
I
And
was
my
yeah,
thought
I totally agree.
my thought
Yeah.
was, it had a lot to do with the sleep. Was maybe these aliens, as we would call them, aren't extraterrestrial, so to speak,
Mm.
but because this real sleep had so much in it and was the longest video, and sort of that sort of thing. And this is what something that kind of ticked me off about, or like tipped me off, is there's the part in it where it says precognition is a lie, and that's a very bold and specific statement to say, that
Yeah.
dreaming cannot cause precognition. It sounds to me like whoever's making this is trying to defend against, something's going on with people's dreams, that maybe they're learning something, or maybe these aliens or whatever. This is scatterbrained right now, but my thought is these aliens aren't extraterrestrial; they're extra dimensional.
Yeah, that's what I've been thinking.
Maybe they come, and maybe when we sleep and when we dream, we tap into that dimension somehow.
Okay, and that would tap into the nighttime, because everything takes place at night. Like nothing happens in the daytime at all.
Yep.
Right.
Ah.
And so my thought is, maybe in doing so, and somehow when they sent out their first videos or whatever, and it didn't work, they got upset because maybe them entering the sphere or something like that.
Yeah.
Because of our dreams, we were able to avoid their mind control, avoid whatever they were doing, and so that's why they sent out this video. Precognition is a lie.
I have
What's
to
explain what precognition is?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I quite know.
Here.
It's basically
here,
like foreknowledge in a way.
Okay.
Like you know things are gonna happen before they happen. Correct me if I'm wrong. By the way.
I'll pull it up.
No.
That would make sense.
And those are precognition, foreknowledge of an event, especially foreknowledge in a paranormal sense.
Yeah, I pulled it up too.
So like it's not like oh man, I read this thing, like I read a pamphlet that said that there's a meeting at 3 and there was a meeting at 3.
Or like conspiracy theories.
That is precognition, but in the more specific term, it's like foreknowledge of an event that you didn't get through normal means. So it's like all of a sudden you just know that something's gonna happen. Well, and it does,
Yeah. Let me. I gotta make something clear real quick. So you guys are stepping into it now. When I watched it through Nexpo, and Nexpo's video came out a year ago, way before Real Sleep came out. In fact, when I started watching it, I watched it right as Nexpo pretty much uploaded that video, and the newest video at the time to both of us was Show for Children. That was the newest one, and then A Look Back came out, and I've been watching this show for a year now, probably, or a lot of months. Honestly, I don't think it's been a year. So Real Sleep I saw when it came out, but no one had explained it to me. So like I only got like a little bit of it.
What were your initial reactions to No Sleep?
It was something that it was way different because I had been watching, a lot of explanation videos, and I've rewatched up until Show for Children and a little bit of Look Back, beforehand. But like, but this one I've seen only one time, Real Sleep, and it's way different than all the other ones. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
See, you guys did your study now, and when I saw it at the time, I didn't want to do research on it. I was like, whatever. It's just creepy messages. But now that tying it into the rest of everything else, being like nighttime dreams, these beings, whoever they are, but whether they be extraterrestrial or somewhere around, are using nighttime to do their misdeeds.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What if they were like creatures that already existed on Earth and they've been like just behind the
Dormant?
scenes the whole
Like the
time? Yeah.
Leviathan in the sea.
Well, like what's weird to me is
Atlantis.
the more we talk about it, I don't know if any of you guys have seen Twin Peaks. It's a weird show.
No, I want to though.
I I have some thoughts about that, but I'll tell you that later. Um, but it has some weird like connections to that show. That show has to do with dreams and it has to do with like extra dimensional beings and like having foreknowledge of events. It's
Mm,
I don't think
yeah.
it's inspired by it, but I'm seeing some similarities there. So it'd be interesting to like look into that. But I
Yeah.
doubt he's
What
I doubt
gets me. Are you done? I'm sorry. I didn't
no,
want
yeah, I was just
No.
saying I doubt
Yeah.
that I doubt that it's connected.
So what gets me is like the message on the sleep video. It says precognition is a lie, but what
Yeah.
it's like, but precognition, it's okay. So imperative in scientifically speaking, there is no such thing as precognition,
Right.
right?
That's what you
Like,
think.
okay, presumably, sure, whatever. So there's
Plus
no,
you're
so
Spider-Man and you have the Spidey sense.
Hey,
Or the Peter can go.
all I'm saying is, you ever had that moment of deja vu where you're like, I dreamt about this once, and then it happened like 2 years later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
That happens to
agree.
me
that's a glitch in the matrix. That's
all
a
the
real thing.
time.
Anyway, so glitches in the matrix are real. Precognition is not. So, um, but so we know that precognition is not true and it's not a lie because in order for something to be a lie, somebody has to be feeding you the BS. So I think that the video is implying that our government is telling us that precognition is real, and now the beings that, in this case, extra dimensional beings, are telling us that precognition is not real. So
Mm.
in a way, I feel like in the government is lying to us, but these beings are telling us the truth.
What if it were like
I don't know if I agree with that because a lot of the subliminal messages, the really rapid fire messages, like I'm looking at it up, and you get things like, only the awake. I dream the world awake. Seeing is for open eyes. Sleep is pretend. Dreaming is vestige. I will never. Stuff like there's work to be done.
Mm.
Dreaming is just screaming with pictures. The pure of mind do not slumber. Stuff like that. Like and it goes on and it goes on. When we sleep, we die. That tells me that whoever's making this, obviously does not want people to dream, does not want people to sleep even, and is trying to do this to prevent people from sleeping, which is why I thought the whole theory of, especially with the precognition is a lie. That one's very clear and very abundant, and does not at all fit the scientific context that this whole situation is in. Because like most of these kind of videos, like when you watch the rest of the video, they say facts, but they don't say facts that are straight out blatant like that. It's like science shows that da da da. They would probably say scientists have shown that da 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 da. But this comes out and says precognition is a lie, and it also refers to the precognition of dreams, and that's what made me think that these dreams are keeping the people alive, and it's preventing whoever these aliens or whatever they are, from achieving their goals, and that's why they built this or they made this.
Yeah. Also, this one I pulled it up to like have little background little background images going. This one takes place in 1983. So
yeah, well, the thing, and that's the thing about this that I think is interesting is, yeah, they have dates on them, but there's no telling if those dates when they were released.
I think
like
I think they're being broadcast in real time, I would say. So every time it happens on the channel, it's happening in real life. This alternate reality in real life. So that's what I would say, honestly.
Well, also,
so it didn't air back in the day. They filmed it back in the day. It's airing
it, and
today.
then these beings who are attacking are, finding them and then using them now, because they're like,
The more-
hey,
Screw with
here's a backlog.
The more you guys are talking about it, the more it seems like, what if it's two groups of beings that are like fighting for Earth.
Control.
Like,
I think it's
Dominance.
so like
Yeah.
one of the beings are like trying to invade us and are sleeping. The other set of beings knows that that's happening. So like, hey guys, don't do that because it's gonna just, you know, they're gonna take over or something. I don't know.
yeah.
That's just something
presumably it's whoever's running the station is trying to get back on track. So maybe like
Right, whoever's
whoever's running the station at the wee hours of 2 o'clock in the morning is really trying to help out their county or whatever.
And that's what Mad
Oh,
Pat.
yeah. The only
That's
problem,
what.
the big problem I have is like this is only happening in one local county. So like,
yeah, that's what I was
does the
gonna bring
rest
up.
of the world have this block, or is like everyone else dying because they're looking up at the moon, the lights, or whatever it is? Are they dying
Yeah,
and they have no whatever? So is Local 58, the county wherever it takes place, is that the only safe haven?
I
Oh
think that's
gosh, the faces just
that's the
showed up. That's creepy.
yeah. I think that's the question that the videos wants us to ask. Like, because you know, it would appear that the Local 58, with the music and the quirkiness of of a
Yeah.
local, it would have to be, from my experience, and I mean I didn't live in the '60s or the '80s. It would have to be a really small, like public television, essentially, like a
Yeah.
really small
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
Only small communities have public television like that. So I
Yeah.
think, and that's something that Matt Pat was saying, was like, it would appear that there's somebody's fighting back. Whoever this Local 58 person or people or station, whoever's behind the controls, they're trying to fight back. And something I was gonna ask Andy, since you were the one that did your degree in psychology. So
Psychology
and
I'll
major.
see if I can answer this.
during the '80s, when the Dream video was shot, were there any breakthroughs in psychology in regard to
Dreams?
dreaming and well, because maybe what I'm thinking is, if this video was shot during the '80s, maybe the beings, in this case we'll call them aliens, maybe they were aware that they were trying to use our scientific or psychological discoveries against us.
Let's see. I mean, scientific, like psychological research has gone on since the beginning, since like the 1800s, late 1800s. There, so like, and sleep has definitely been one of the major fields. So as far as really big breakthroughs in the 80s, nothing immediately rings a bell, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's not a valid theory.
Hmm.
Because dream interpretation has been a major. I mean, even before like psychology was a science, you have way back, ancient societies, uh, falling into like hiring people to interpret what
I
does my
mean,
dream mean?
my
Is it
guy.
a message from the gods?
Look
I mean,
at the
in the
Bible,
Bible.
my guy. It's in the Bible.
I mean, yeah, exactly. The Bible has it, and even outside of the Bible, there are plenty of sources outside of
Yeah,
the Bible that
for
show
sure.
ancient like philosophers and kings talking about dreams and trying to interpret what that means. So it's definitely another interpretation. This is a different interpretation. Most of the interpretations in the ancient world for those kind of dreams was that dreams are a symbol or a vision from the spiritual realm, from deities, from angels, whatever. This and of course in our modern age, psychology and science has sort of indicated that, well, boiling it down just is whatever is brain processes or whatever, which is what this thing is trying to play into.
Yeah.
Is this is it's just a it's just a chemical thing, but also it's saying that, but it's also saying it's harmful, it's bad. Dreaming is vestige. Sleep is pretend. A dream is a cowardly thought. That was one of the messages that flashed across the screen. So it's trying to prevent us from whatever it is, which seems to me. That's what I think. That's why I thought it was these dreams and sleeping and dreaming is the weakness of whatever this creature is.
Mm.
Kind of like something like how Freddy Krueger. He attacks you in your dreams, but if you what was it like? If you realize you're asleep, then you can beat him, type situation.
Yeah.
Like a lucid dream.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, another thing that
I
to
mean,
me was
Freud talked about dreams a lot. Like, and that was one of his major the subconscious,
The id.
what yeah, the id, the superego, and the ego. What you have underneath the unconscious, what you have underneath the surface is really who you are, but your mind puts on faces and masks to cover it up. And that was his
Faces.
whole thing. Yeah,
There are no faces.
there are no faces, they're lies.
Something that I thought was very curious, that you guys already pointed out, and show for oh my gosh, my
Bro, that's one I
accent's
just
killing me.
That's one I just pulled up. Look at that.
Yeah, show for children. There we go. I can
Mhm.
English some days.
Yeah.
So it aired at 4 something in the morning
Yeah,
before
4
kids
o'clock
were
in the
playing
morning.
Fortnite.
Ain't
Yeah,
no
before Fortnite was the thing.
4:15 in the morning. Ain't
And
nobody.
if you notice, I think show for children.
Yeah, I got
It's
it
the
pulled up. So it's
only
playing.
one that I can tell it's trying to, like, it's
like
not trying to harm us. It's trying
Yeah.
to warn us.
It's a warning, but also it's like played off in a playful ish. See, okay, I got it pulled up, and if you look at the moon, he is like looking at you, like, you gonna look up at me, huh? When you gonna notice me? When you gonna look up?
I mean,
He's
it's
got
like
this-
it's what
he-
steals your eye in the shot always.
Yes,
like you're
it's
not
the-
looking
Yeah.
at
It's
you're
that.
not looking
it's
at the
that.
guy. You're looking
I
at the
know
moon.
you're looking at that moon. It's like always present. It's always there, and it's looking at you with this menacing look. Oh, it's so creepy.
Weather
I
service
have
came
it
out-
playing right now, and it's oh my gosh, I'm watching it again. It's so creepy.
I think
What-
that show for children is the Station 58 people or person trying to warn the
Yeah.
the survivors.
Since there's no,
because you're right.
yeah.
Because you're right. Who shows, maybe by saying like, oh, this is a show for kids at 4 a.m. Maybe they're trying to trick the aliens or the beings.
Yeah.
trying to go under their noses.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because like I said, that's the only one that doesn't have that has
Oh my
a
gosh.
message that tries to help
If-
you. Because all the other
Yeah.
ones have a message to try to hurt you. This is the only
Yeah.
one that has a message that actually tries to, hey, for real, don't look at the moon.
Bro, I'm
despite
getting
what the
chills
weather
because
one
like
says.
I'm watching this again. It starts off with the moon smiling very happily. He's very happy. He's like, "Are you gonna look up at me?" And then halfway through the video, his smile goes away, and his eyes are just locked on the character from the front. And so like, it gets a little bit more menacing. And then I'm at the point now in the video where he's underneath the ground crawling, and he's about to, spoilers if you're watching with me, but he's about to die because the moon just shows up over his grave. So like the moon
Yeah.
forced him to look at him.
Yep.
The moon in this is so creepy. I hate the moon. It's so disgusting.
Okay, I didn't
Yep.
realize the first time that was the moon looking at him.
Yeah,
I thought it was
that's a-
some like creature.
No, I mean, maybe that's the implication, is that the
Oh.
moon is a creature.
Or yeah, or that whatever the creatures come from the moon
Yeah.
or something
Or
like
that.
that.
Yeah, the moon.
But
the
the
moon
moon,
just
the
like,
moon is always watching.
yeah.
It could be like an allegory or
I
something.
thought Sans was
Like,
talking just now, but that was someone's phone.
It sounded like
yeah,
someone
Benny,
typing.
Benny, I could hear you texting.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
like,
dude, my
I was
bad.
like, what
I'm
is
so
Sans
sorry.
talking right now? Is that Sans Undertale on my podcast?
My bad,
On
homie.
our
talking about-
podcast,
we are talking
sorry,
about skeleton
communist,
guys.
our podcast.
Hey Benny, did you like step away from your mic or something? You kind of went quiet in the last couple minutes. I don't
Wait,
know if
what?
it's like, yeah, it sounds like you stepped a few feet away from.
I didn't hear.
No, I'm.
I mean,
listen,
from
I can.
from my
I think we're good.
I mean, I can still hear you, but it wasn't as clear.
Oh no, I think I wasn't talking directly.
A little
to the
behind
mic.
the
That's
scenes
what
for
it is.
you podcast
Sorry
fans
about-
out
Right.
there.
Sorry about the texting,
Okay,
by the
sorry
way.
to break the immersion.
No, I know. I'm so sorry. I forgot how sensitive my mic is, but yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
No
Now this
flex,
is
bro.
I don't know. I don't know if you know about this, Nick. This is something that I
Yes.
kind of stumbled upon before the
Go ahead
show
and tell
when
me.
Noah, Benny, and I were talking about.
Yeah.
There's a subreddit for this.
Yes, I'm on it right
And
now. Well, no, I'm on a different.
You're looking at
subreddit.
it. You're
I'll pull it up. I have
There's-
Nexpo up.
There's a post called the Mason County Saga.
Oh.
And-
whoa.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up real quick.
Oh, right.
It,
Yeah,
it
I'm
was
looking
just
at it right
posted
now.
like 4 or 5 days ago.
Whoa.
9 days ago. Yeah,
9
so
days
this is
ago.
recent. And this guy, okay, Chris Straub is
5
the
days ago,
the
I'm a
creator.
senior in high school. I need. Oh, never mind. That's the wrong one.
No.
Essence of
Chris
Local
Straub.
58.
it's the Mason County.
Oh,
Saga,
Mason
that's what
County.
it's called.
I see it. Yeah.
Yep.
Let me pull it up for the viewers.
So Chris Straub is the name of the guy who made this, and apparently, and this is something I didn't know until I looked it up, that this has a connection. Local 58 has a connection to Candle Cove, which, if you know anything about
Another
creepypasta, you would definitely have heard about Candle Cove.
Well, it's the same writer.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, and that's what
wrote
I
the
knew he
same
did
thing.
something.
And actually, one thing I don't know if you guys, well, if you read the subreddit or the Reddit post, you can see that he also has a comic series called Brood Hollow, which takes place in this town that is connected with both Candle Cove and Local 58. Am I? Oh, okay. I didn't know if you guys were.
No, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah.
Okay,
Candle
just
Cove
checking.
and Level 58.
Yeah, I have no clue what that is, but I'm tracking.
So,
all right.
The comic actually has a lot of nods to, and it actually has the skeleton comic character, which I forget his name.
Cadaver.
He actually shows up in it, and it mentions this like, I didn't read the whole thing because it's actually pretty long, but it mentions this creature, and you know how there was that creature at the beginning of or towards the end of the first video, you're on the fastest route.
Yeah.
A creature shows up for a second.
Yeah.
Well, they're thinking that's the same creature. It's basically just, if you read the post, it has a lot of interesting. They all have a lot of interesting connections. I don't know. I didn't mean to steal anybody's stuff, but
yeah, no,
you can go ahead and say.
I don't know anything about whatever you're talking about. This is new to me because
Do you know? Nick? Because Candle Cove, I'm familiar with. Like, I know of it, but I never read the story myself.
You want me to pull it up real quick?
I actually just read it a couple days ago. Like
if you would go through what that is and kind of break.
Okay, I got it pulled up.
Okay, so Candle Cove.
I'm on it right now. If you want to.
I don't think we need to read it.
Don't read it. Just like summarize it. Like paraphrase it.
It's been a minute. I think.
Well, Noah just read it. he just read it. So let him do it.
Okay, fine. Whatever. I don't care. Do whatever you do it. Just do it.
Sorry. So Candle Cove, basically, it's posed as this like online chat, this like chat room where someone posted about this old TV show called Candle Cove, which was about this girl, live action, and they're these pirate puppets, I believe they were, and she's basically just reminiscing about this old show, and other people join her, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this show's like, oh, I remember this. Like, I loved this show as a kid," and the more they discuss it and the more they talk about it, the more sinister the show becomes. The kind of like goggles that they had as a kid kind of fell off, and they realized that there's a bunch of weird, creepy stuff. Like, the kid didn't look like she wanted to be there. Like, the pirates are all fighting this like evil, like this terrifying looking creature. The bad character is this like skin creature or something called the skin taker or something like that. I forgot what his name is.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But then like on the last episode, or an episode that everyone remembers, is this one where they're all just screaming. All the characters are screaming, and one of the characters towards the end of the chat message, like the messaging towards the end of the story, says, "Hey, I just like asked my mom about this, and she was like, oh, you had such a vivid imagination as a kid. Like, it's so weird that you could sit down for an hour and watch static on the TV screen." And she's like, "Excuse me, what?"
Yeah.
And so everyone's kind of freaking out because they're like, how can we all have this collective remembrance of this when our parents didn't remember it? And that's basically
I was just about to say that.
Summary of the story.
So the connection between Local 58 is, it's presumed that this show aired on Local 58.
Oh.
Right.
And
right.
Okay, so
because it mentions it mentions a channel 58 or something.
Yeah.
Good.
So the now the interesting thing about this, there's another entity, I guess you could call it, called Icor Falls.
Yeah, I've got that pulled up on the.
Yeah, it's a fictional town. According to this post that I'm reading here, there's not really any specific links between that and somewhat uh somewhat disconnected. However, there are other things on that site or around that have it's like the Stillwood. It's a location, a forest that seems to look the same anywhere you go. That's also uh, temporarily anomalous. Like apparently a guy was lost for 2 days in there, but when he came out, he said he was there for 9 days.
Mm.
Um, in Brood Hollow, there are other things, but one of the things that kind of ties into that could possibly tie into Candle Cove is uh, a lore piece about William Harker known as the Stitched Man. In in the 1840s, a fire killed him. It killed his family and injured him badly. He was a tailor, and so legend tells that he began talking about stitching himself back together. But they don't know if that's with cloth, skin, or whatever. And then that gives the town a reputation for being cursed.
Oh.
And
That's
that
crazy.
could tie into the Skin Taker, which was part of Candle Cove.
Right, and then Candle Cove is part of Local 58, so it all kind of
Yes.
tags each
Whoa.
other.
Yes.
So
Presumably, anyway.
people are thinking that he's kind of scattered these stories in different places and tried to make them, you know, separate from each other in like seemingly separate from each other, but slowly adding connections to them.
Yeah, and then
Well-
eventually there's going to be like a big Avengers level threat where they all have to
Right.
come together.
Thanos comes. No, I'm just kidding.
So
Thanos
there's
car shows up and they have to Local 58 it together.
Right. They have to figure out
There's- so
conductively how
there's-
to drive a stick.
the other entity that kind of exists in the same Mace County is Brood Hollow, which is a town. And this story takes place in the 1930s. So this thing has been whatever's happening there has been happening for probably way longer than just up until 1970. And it's about this guy, and he kind of wanders through the town, and there's a lot of mysteries and whatever. However, the major themes include kind of similar to Local 58: memory, dreams, and ghosts. So, the other interesting thing about that is Brood Hollow is the origin is where Cadaver from the show for children. He was kind of a guide that showed up in the main character of Brood Hollow's dreams, and was was revealed to be a popular comic strip where the skeleton ponders life's mysteries.
Mm.
So that's where he came from. So it does all connect in some strange way.
Some,
You know what I-
some bigger way.
You know what I think it could be?
What's that?
So you're saying how the Cadaver cartoon character was in that other story. So maybe you know how I was saying that perhaps the Local 58 person is trying to warn us using the show for children.
Mhm.
Maybe he intentionally used the Cadaver cartoon character, knowing that the people in the town would
Yeah,
recognize
it's
it.
recognizable.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, maybe they
Nice.
maybe the station people knew that all those watching the show for children that's actually a warning would recognize the cartoon character, and it would automatically click in their minds like, oh, wait a minute, this is trying to help me.
Dang, that's a nice theory, my boy.
Because they trust it. They trust
Yeah,
it, and they know
because-
they know it.
Now, an interesting thing, and this is what the poster of this the guy who wrote all of these connections, his theory is that he doesn't know exactly where all of things tie together. Of course, I don't think anybody, but he does believe that the main theme of this entire saga is memory, because that everything that's going on seems to tied into some sort of a memory event.
Mhm.
Brood Hollow has something going on that causes people to forget each other, and so on. Other people, Wadsworth, one of the characters, discovers he can recover some of his memories if he experiences fear, especially in a dream. And then, of course, Candle Cove, which is like all these people who were kids remembering something that their parents absolutely don't,
Yeah.
or remember something different. So memory, dreams, those kind of things definitely have a lot more to do with it than I think extraterrestrial aliens.
Yeah, honestly, when like I was looking into it a little bit, and when people were talking about aliens and stuff, I was just like, that seems really too easy. It seems too simple of
Yeah.
an explanation.
Mm.
Yeah.
And the more I looked at it, I like the idea that it's happening in this town that has this reputation for paranormal activity. Not
Yeah.
not like from space, but just like evil entities and stuff. I think that's a much more interesting theory than aliens
Aliens.
and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Okay, so and this guy. He's kind of going through each of the films. So the You Are on the Fastest Route. His connection is do not his takeaway from that is the message is do not trust technology.
Mm.
That's pretty much all he can really gather from contingency. Death is preferable to capture. The date is dated 2 years before Candle Cove, but that
Oh yeah, we're looking at the same post now.
yeah.
mm,
So
Um,
in the GPS one, that's also that's the only video that I can tell that's not like televised.
No, it
That's
is.
like a
I'm pretty sure it
no, but
is.
like it's not like in a TV format. It's not like a weather report. It's not a
no.
Oh no,
that's
but
true.
it was aired on TV though.
right. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Otherwise, yeah, well, that's what would be on this channel. But
Yeah, it's not
the
like
only
a
one that's not like.
PSA.
Yeah, it's the only one that's not
It's
like.
not TV programming.
Yeah, it's the only one that was like. Something that's not high production television. It's just some
I don't.
GoPro.
Well,
Some GoPro.
I don't even
on the
think
thing.
it's. I don't even think it's designed to be
It
televised.
wasn't
And
meant. I
also,
don't think it
No.
was meant to be. I think it was like this
It's just dash
guy.
cam
This
footage.
guy found, but whoever the local 58 fighter is like, hey, here's some evidence that something is trying to get us.
but here's the thing.
Here's the evidence.
Here's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
The GPS
Yeah.
video. It's the more recent one. The camera quality looks better, and it's using GPS. It's like using Google Maps or something.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're also attacking. If you notice, they're also attacking the navigational system, because
Yep.
Google Maps doesn't tell you turn off your headlights. It doesn't say
No.
Yeah.
enter, do
Yeah.
not enter. So it's like someone's being manipulated, and they're like, "Wow, this is oddly specific," and then
So
it keeps getting closer and closer.
so if we're not supposed to trust technology, then how can we trust the local 58 channel?
We
I
might
think-
not be able to.
I
Maybe
think-
we're not supposed to.
I think whoever
Yeah.
is fighting is trying to get people to still use technology, but I think whoever is like the adversaries, the bad people, and whoever the story is, I think they are very much trying to get us to
fear
stop, get us to
technology,
fear technology. Absolutely.
so we don't trust the local 58 channel.
Yeah, I guess that's supposed
What-
to be what it's supposed to be.
What is interesting, and I did notice, I know that in the Mason County like information,
Yeah.
there is this forest or part of woods called Stillwood, and I
Yeah.
wonder if I'm just throwing an idea out here. I wonder if that's the forest that the guy is driving in, because he's clearly driving into some random area that's very wooded. It's a forest of some kind. I wonder if that's where he is.
The same forest.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because I mean, he sees some sort of creature, which could be the skin taker,
Oh,
Yeah.
or
yeah. There
the-
is a creature in You're on the Fastest Route. I
it's
don't know what
it's
it
there
is.
for like one frame or something, or like
Yeah.
two.
Yeah, it's
it's-
like a one frame.
If you
Yeah.
pause, you can see it. It's definitely otherworldly. It's not human. So
Yeah.
that's
It's
that's why
like-
the theory is extraterrestrials, is because it is, for sure not human. Whatever it is.
just
here's
because it's
my
not human
thing.
doesn't mean it's from
Here's
another
my
planet.
thing. Here's my thing.
That's the
So that's true. Like
Yeah.
Andy was saying, could be interdimensional. My thing is, so the GPS was clearly guiding the driver
yeah.
to the creature. So you could
Mhm.
make the assumption that the creature was actually the one controlling the GPS.
Yes, absolutely.
That's a
But-
good point.
Uh-huh.
Here- but here's my yes. I mean, and because it says turn off your head. Like he was using Google Maps, like go on this dirt road. Like what the crap? No.
Yeah, follow signs
He
for
must
do
have
not
been.
enter.
He must have been using Waze.
Yeah, it has to be. Had to be. So, but where this, what I'm confused, or not confused. I guess my question is, this guy had an original destination in mind. He was going somewhere,
Yes.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So here's what I think. I think that the creature intercepted it somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you just, oh, let me go meet this random alien in the forest. Like, no, you don't. Nobody ever thinks that.
Mhm.
So I think what the station people are trying to tell us is they can tap into signals
They
at
tap into
random
your signals,
times.
but also he was willingly following every instruction he was given, whoever this driver
Yeah.
was. So
yeah,
maybe
because
because
Maybe
Even
he's
when-
being possessed as well.
yeah, maybe
'Cause why would
they
he do that
use the
willingly? That's pretty
technology. They use the technology to get into your mind, and then they control you. Maybe.
yeah,
Is
well,
this
because
is
like
this an episode of Black Mirror? You know,
Maybe
you know
maybe
what I'm
homie had to
saying?
look at those sleep tapes. He was a
Yeah.
little-
so
maybe.
because when things started getting weird and it goes, oh, turn into this dirt road, he did it, and oh, turn off your headlights, and he did it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, dude.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Why would they?
But then
Yeah.
he also ran. Like at the
Yeah.
end,
Yeah.
You see the thing. He turns around. He
Maybe
goes
he
for it, and the thing's
after-
telling him,
yeah.
turn around. Your destination's behind you.
Maybe
That's-
snapped out of it.
yeah, he's like, oh no.
He was like, "Whoa, what am I doing? My destination is 50 feet behind me. What the heck?"
Oh, this doesn't look like IKEA.
I was here for the Swedish meatballs.
Another thing, check this out. So, you have to know a little bit about. I mean, not. So in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, do you guys know like what technology was used to broadcast, like TV and radio?
Was it still radio waves at that point?
It was analog.
Analog?
Yeah.
It was analog electrical signals.
Yeah.
And I think
that's
what
right.
I think what the GPS video is trying to tell us is that, because I think starting in 2009, 10, it was a big deal, and TV went fully digital. I
Yeah.
think what the local
Yeah.
58 people are trying to tell us is, hey, they can tap into analog signals and they can also tap into digital
Yeah.
signals.
Into satellite signals.
Satellite
Yeah,
signals.
because
GPS is.
yeah,
Oh,
in general,
Wow.
because
pretty
the
good.
because the technology that we use on our phones to Google
Yeah.
Maps,
Yeah, everything
all that's
is
digital.
It's all digital, yeah.
We don't really use a lot of analog technology nowadays. So they can tap into, which means the implication is they're in the internet.
Yep.
So they would know that
Oh.
do they know that we're talking about them?
Most like
Yeah,
shut it off, shut it off, shut it
they
down.
would.
Shut that down.
Hello, FBI. It's actually the FBI. Like,
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Well,
Meta.
if you're scared of being watched, this episode of the podcast is brought to you by Tunnel Bear. Just
PP.
kidding.
Oh.
I do have Tunnel Bear, so Tunnel Bear, if you want to
Random.
sponsor.
Yeah.
Segue. Okay, we've been going on for an hour.
NordVPN. No, I'm just
Oh
kidding.
gosh, we've been going on for an hour and 3 minutes. You guys want to wrap this one up, my boys?
you
I think
can.
there's one other thing. This is a small note, but
Okay.
the cartoon with Cadaver at the beginning, or at that one episode, because Cadaver is mentioned to be a part of a comic strip from another series.
Hmm.
Like he's like according to this, his action. Of course, I haven't looked into all of these sources, so I can't verify it. But this guy has, so I'm trusting him. He says that Cadaver's actions in that video are out of character, because he's saying that he's running after love instead of just relaxing and lounging around like he tends to do in the comic.
Yeah, but
Which could also indicate-
that's his girlfriend though, right? So like maybe
That's true.
he's
That's
like
true,
really concerned.
Could be, but I think the implication here is that maybe this was also spoofed by
Yeah.
whoever the.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. The thing that's really interesting about this, and the biggest vibe I'm getting from this, is don't trust anybody. You
Yeah.
don't know. You don't know who. You don't know any of these people
Oh, no.
or any of these creatures or what they're doing. Don't trust anybody. That's kind of the whole. Don't trust technology because they can take control of that. Don't trust your own mind because maybe they can take control of that too with the whole dream thing. Or don't trust anyone. Don't
Yeah.
trust the weather because that could maybe that's also controlled by them.
A meteorological event.
Yeah.
Don't look up at the sky. Do
I
look
would
at
agree.
the
That
sky.
seems like a much more cohesive warning
Yeah.
He seems
Yeah.
like a much more cohesive statement than
Yeah.
just aliens.
The
you know.
aliens are
Yeah.
here, man.
Yeah.
So very much so. We don't know what it is. It's not ended yet, and I don't think it's gonna be ended for a couple years because he doesn't upload that often.
No.
Right.
So,
Him and
Like-
Jontron should be buddies.
oh god,
Damn.
So we don't know how it's gonna end or how it will tie into any of these other known properties by the same gentleman. But I'm really excited to see where it's gonna go. To be honest,
Yeah.
so it was the first video ever to be uploaded was October 31st, 2017, and
So it was purposefully
yeah,
uploaded
1,
on Halloween.
2, 3, 4, 5. There's only 7 videos over the course of 2 years. So, or not even 2 years. That's 2018.
And they all total
December
20
9th.
minutes.
Yeah, 7 videos over just over a year. So that's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, and he wrote and Candle Cove was written like in 08, 09, so this has
Yeah,
been
it's
going on
pretty
for
old.
a
Nice.
long time.
I wonder if he's had this under his belt for a while and he's just like
It could be,
whipping
or
Yeah.
it could
out.
another
Oh,
thing
that
that
doesn't
could
sound
be
good.
is with and this is just kind of like, I think this is just how creativity works. But as he wrote Candle Cove, and maybe he didn't have a specific vision in mind, but as he wrote it, he started getting more inspiration.
Yeah.
Started
Yeah.
building.
I wouldn't be
That's
surprised.
how it
Let's explore
happens
this a
with
little bit
creators.
more.
Though.
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause, I
Typically,
mean,
they don't have the whole
Our podcast
you know,
started off.
situation.
Our podcast started off.
maybe
at 3 hours.
maybe a starting goal and an end goal, but a lot of the stuff that comes into the story comes in between while writing.
Yeah.
I mean,
have
it's
to
not
start.
uncommon.
You have to start with the end in mind. Otherwise, you're just gonna have
Right.
Star Wars that keeps going on for 12 years, and Avengers keeps going on.
Yeah.
The local 58 movie universe.
That's what I'm
Local
thinking is gonna happen.
58 cinematic universe.
Oh my gosh, please! I love stuff like this.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
Are you guys ready to talk about Marvel Hornets seasons 1 through 5?
There's not
no,
different
no, thank
seasons,
you.
right?
Technically, yes. There's different
Oh.
eras, different seasons. Then there's To the Ark and Clear Lakes 44. So that's
I mean,
all.
and
That's the
I
Marvel
don't
Hornets
know.
cinematic universe.
I am
Cinematic.
definitely interested in these kind of like.
Yes.
Kind of
They don't.
strange
They
mystery
don't
type
give you the
situations.
answer, and you have
Right.
to
Yeah.
think about it. That's what I like.
It makes
about
you
it.
think. It makes you think.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's wrap this up, boys. It's an hour 7 minutes. So we got our basic theories out there. The most common theory is aliens, which we don't think so.
No.
We definitely want to see where this goes. So
Right.
I think we should look at more stuff like this, more web series, creepypastas, all that stuff. Do some dramatic readings of those creepypastas.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
what else I thought would be cool?
What was that?
We should do creepy lore from around the world, like from different
Ooh,
cultures.
bro, I've been
That'd be
looking.
great.
I've been
That's a
looking
good
into
idea.
giant skeletons from Japan. Those things are creepy, my dude. It's my wallpaper.
Listen,
now.
bro, it's Hispanic Heritage Month. It's my people's time to shine. That's all I'm saying.
I'm Native
Nice.
American. Our land was taken from us, so every day
I can
is
learn about
my day,
Italian
son.
horror
But
Oh
stories.
my gosh!
But who works your land now? Us.
Oh my stop!
Oh my god.
I work my land, son. Okay, it's getting political. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I again was joined by Benny, Andy, and Noah. I'm Nick from the Nick Show. Let's say bye, everyone.
Bye.
Jesus.
Bye.
Also, let's give a quick shout out to Et Builder, the guy who had brought all those ideas together about the Mason County
Oh yeah.
things.
What
'cause
is he on? Is he on?
Reddit.
on
Just,
Reddit?
His name is Et
Okay,
Builder
yeah.
on Reddit. I just don't want to. I
Yeah,
don't want
I'll
to steal his stuff without giving him a
No, I
giving him a
People
shout
get
out.
demonetized.
yeah, I showed it up on screen. So, but here you go, everyone. Here it is
Okay.
again. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys in the next episode of Lorecast.